recording and let's start. Okay, so welcome everybody. Welcome, and more welcome. I hope you guys are having yourself a swell of a day and things are going up your alley somewhere. So today we're gonna have a fun class. It's actually gonna be a fun week as well. Number one, we're gonna have basically two chapters, but they're different and yet they're the same. Why? Well, what we're going to be talking about is managing human resources, and we're going to talk about what is human resources. But the second topic is going to be on union, and then I'm going to give you guys both. And I'm never forgetting Nathan and Nassim here. I'm going to give you guys some workout, and we're going to talk about how you are seeing human resources from different viewpoints, and then I'll give you guys a discussion and have you guys work on it for the week. Sounds like a game plan? Let's start. Okay, so we're going to talk about human resources. Human resources, normally you will see it as a department in an organization. And a lot of times this department is responsible for multiple things, including hiring people. Okay, but it has more to that. Okay, it has more to it. And you're welcome, Nathan. And normally when we look at human resources, they are the management of people. Okay. How do we manage people? And to be honest with you, when I used to work, I used to um, kind of find human resources to be humorous. And the reason is that, I always had a joke going on in my office that said, who do you hate more, human resources or accounting? And the joke was we hate human resources because they hired accountants. Okay. So it's kind of a humorous thing. Yeah, it's kind of a Dilbert humor joke with like nobody understands. But in reality, human resources, they hire people and they fire people. And some people don't like human resources. And the reason is because they can do mass layoffs, okay? Let people go, okay? Decide that we're going to close a store, okay? Or close a business. And we've seen this a lot of times. When you look, for example, in Nordstrom, at the end of June, there's going to be 2,500 Canadians who are going to be without a job because of Nordstrom. And it starts with people working in their, stores, people managing it, regional managers, people working in their warehouse, people doing purchasing, logistics, accounting, transportation, you name it. They're going to be let go. Okay. And it's going to be a huge hit. And human resources has to make sure that they're going to do a good job on it because they also going to be let go. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of change being happening, and human resources has to be responsible for it. So it's all about managing people and making sure that they are monitored, which a lot of people do not like being monitored, and you can only imagine they don't like to be monitored and controlled. So a lot of times the fundamentals of business management is managing people, okay? Managing the fundamentals of human beings, making sure that they can do the work, and hopefully making sure that we can explain how managers develop and implement a human resource plan, because we have to make sure that when we hire people, we're going to give them position. They have a title and they have everyday operations that they have to commit to. Okay, so you cannot, for example, be, a an account associate, but also be a technical manager as well. You can't do that. You cannot do both. And again, like I mentioned, some people do not like it, like human resources, but human resource does a lot. Okay, when you take a break, when you need vacation, when you need healthcare, when you need, for example, especially for maternity leave, that's available for you. And human resource works with that. Human resource can also protect your job. So if you feel unhappy at work, if you feel mistreated, if there's some unfairness, for most of it, human resource will help you. Okay, so there's a lot of reasons why human resource is there and how it manages the people, the productivity, and the goals of a company. Last week, we talked about marketing. And today we're going to be talking a little bit more about the whole idea of using human resources to implement change and improvement in your team. So in today's class, we're going to define human resource management and explain how managers develop and implement a human resource plan. We'll explain how companies train and develop employees, the importance of a diverse workforce. We're going to explain a little bit more about what they mean, how they mean it, and talk a little bit about identifying key factors in making sure that human resource management is going to be implemented. Okay. We want to make sure that people understand exactly what is needed to be done. So we're going to identify different factors that will make up the organization. And eventually, what we're going to be looking at is looking at the necessary factors that will propel many companies to decide, if we need human resource management or not. Okay. Usually, when you are applying for a job, okay, usually send a resume out, and resume most of the time it's controlled by human resources. Okay, so they're like the first line of contact. They will analyze your submission. They will go ahead and put it in, and then decide if we should hire you or not. So we're going to identify the necessary factors that make an organization a good place to be competitive. We're going to look at the benefits and packages that are available for you. Explain how managers evaluate employee performance and retain the right qualified employees. Okay, so we can have the right amount of people. Just bear with me. I got to check one more thing in my slide. I apologize for the small delay. I think I did not miss out on that. So I believe it's right down here. All right, I'm just going to post it in. 1 second. Just give me 2 minutes. All right. I was so excited for this class. I just forgot about it. Perfect. Okay, it's done. Okay, let's go back to where we were. So we talked a little bit about understanding the necessary requirements of human resources. And what we're going to be looking on for today is how to find the right people and keep them. Okay. So you have to remember, if you find really good people in your company, you want to keep them forever. Okay. They produce some items for you. Okay. You pay them a salary, a really good salary, benefits, bonuses, so forth. They will produce. Okay. And they will give you the results that you need. However, if you find somebody who doesn't do a good job, unfortunately, you have to let them person go, okay? Or you have to train them to make sure that they know what's needed to be done. So let's talk about human resources for a bit, okay? So human resources is a mechanism to attract, develop, and retain quality employees. Okay, we want to find the right people. Okay, and sometimes there are companies that they tell you we want somebody with 10 years of experience, somebody with 20 years of experience. You get a mixed nut out there, but nonetheless, in most companies, they should and will train you. They have to. Okay, there has to be some form of training, either system training, modular training, corporate training, some form of training. And again, who does that? HR management. HR, human resources, they have to manage you. So HR management basically consists of all actions that a company takes to attract, develop, and retain quality employees. Okay. So they have to make sure that we control the people, we control the workforce, and control the everyday life. So now the question is, and maybe some of you guys can answer for me. A lot of you guys are in HR or going into that stream correctly, correct? So a lot of you guys are HR management students. Some. Some of you guys send me an email. So I see down below you have a title saying HR. So I'm assuming you guys will be interested in HR. And you may take some classes right now, maybe later. But some of the things that you will be doing, for example, you're going to be doing the job analysis. Okay, so job analysis is you're going to analyze people's positions. You're going to decide, well, should we cut the job? Should we double the job? Should we increase the job? Should we do something with the job? And that's where you will come in. HR understands forecasting, so we know exactly how the company is growing and what we need to do. We identify HR availability, so we track exactly our job posting. We want to make sure that people are applying. We want to make sure that we're analyzing the resumes, and then we're connecting back to the employees. So a lot of times we do forecast human resource that's needed to achieve organization's vision and mindset. We measure the gap between the two of the above, and a lot of times we recruit qualified employees. We want to find the right people. So it's not just, having them walk in and walk out. We want to make sure that they have the right candidates. Okay. So we cannot just pick randomly. We have to find the right people. So that means about finding the right candidates. You look usually on two sides. You can do internal recruiting, which means you can find people from within. So in some cases, you have people who leave the company, some people who get promoted within the company, and then other people who will retire. So because of these shifts, you need people to replace them. So the first option is internal recruiting, meaning that you take somebody from below and then you tell them, listen, there's an opportunity opening. Would you like to take it? If they say yes, then of course there is going to be some evaluation and work there altogether. There is going to be also external recruiting. Normally, if you cannot find the right people, what do? Go and Indeed, hire them from somewhere else. Okay, find the right people. All right. So the goal here is you're looking for external recruiters, and in this particular case, you will go to job sites, and maybe on your website, people will click on your career and will be able to look for positions. Then, of course, when you get the people applying, you have a selection process. So you have to decide who you want to bring in, who you want to talk to, who you want to put them on the side. Myself, I've done a little bit of hiring. I'm not an HR person, but I did hire people. And a lot of times when I do hire individuals, a lot of times you have a selection process. So on Indeed, we post, a notification that we are going to be making sure that, we're looking for the right candidates and we're going to select the right people. Okay, so we do a selection process, and a lot of times under the selection process, we are going to be able to find the right people. Okay, so in the selection process, we're going to find exactly who are the people that we want to hire, how do we want to hire them, and at what cost. Okay, so a lot of times you get like 300 resumes, you bring it down to maybe 100, bring it down to maybe 50. From 50, you bring down to about 15. You read carefully those 15 people, and then out of 15 people, you break it down into maybe five people you want to bring in, and that will end up being a day's work where you will bring them in, you will look for the right candidate, and then if you like those candidates, you bring maybe two of them in afterwards. Then you bring the last one in for a third and final interview. And then, of course, you will decide on who you want to pick. Okay. So a lot of times you have what we call the contingent workers. And in contingent workers, what you have to do is that though most people prefer to hold permanent full-time positions, there's a growing number of individuals who work at temporary or part-time jobs, either by choice or as an only available option. And contingency workers are something that HR has to maintain. So they have to make sure that if you're working for a temp agency, that they pay the temp agency, that they make sure that you are competent, that they make sure that you can do the job and decide, if they really want you, they can hire you later on. Okay. So what do they do in job analysis? Job analysis is where HR organizes information about a given job performance, performing a job analysis to identify the task and responsibilities and also skills that are needed uh, to be done successfully, as well as the knowledge and abilities needed to perform that job task altogether. So once you've analyzed the job within the organization, what HR does a lot of times, the department, they forecast future needs or letting people go. We call them firing needs altogether. So they identify what is currently available. They forecast the needs in the future. So they look exactly, well, if we're investing that much money in a company, we can hire maybe five more people in the organization. We organize and achieve the vision and the mission of the company. We measure the gaps between the two of the items that we mentioned. And of course, we make sure that we can do a good recruiting job. When we find the right people, the recruiting qualified employees, HR managers develop a strategy for recruiting potential employees. Recruiting is a process of identifying suitable candidates and encouraging them to apply openings in the organization. Okay. So a lot of times what occurs is that they are going to be an important part for us. Finding the right candidates, a lot of times what may happen is that there may be many companies that they have to assess the ability of the performance and the duties of the job. Okay. So a lot of times what happens is that you want to find somebody who's a good fit for the company. So, for example, how well does a candidate value, interpersonal skills and styles, and how much does it match with the company culture and the company value? Okay, so you can find them, if in need be, you can find people from both inside and outside the company. And normally there's a selection process when you find the right people. Again, internal workers get a little bit of a leeway, but when internal workers do not have the right qualifications, then they will look somewhere else. Okay. So a lot of times external workers may have, knowledge of competitors, knowledge of what's going on in the industry, and the selection process entails gathering information on the candidates and evaluating their qualifications and then choosing the right candidate. Okay. So at the very least, the process can be time consuming. As I mentioned, it can take sometimes weeks, even months to find the right people. And when you're filling a high level position, often it involves several members of an organization. So if you're hiring people from, technical positions, management positions, HR positions, you need to bring the right people in. And of course, as we mentioned, there are people who work for temporary agencies, and these individuals will also be part of it. Okay. So, nonetheless, of course, human resources is an important part of a company. When you find the right candidates, you want to develop them. So, you bring them into training. So, developing an employee means that in many cases, and I'm going to use you guys as an example, I would say 99% of you guys, or 95, or maybe in the high 70s, maybe, I have to kind of read the room here, would end up wanting a position either in the next 3 years or maybe next 5 years or even, as long as it may need. Okay. The reason why you want to find a position is, of course, you want to find a career. Okay. So you're going into the workforce with literally no experience whatsoever. Okay, that's a fact. Not a fact that I'm trying to say, hey, you don't have experience, you're not that good. I believe you guys are amazing. I've seen your work, but in the end of the day, you are a new employee, so we have to indoctrinate you. We have to make sure that you know our policies, our procedures, you know the system. Okay, we want to train you. Okay, we don't want to put you in the deep end and have you fail. That's the last thing we want to do. So we want to make sure that you can do a really good job, and new employee orientation means that you will go in and it may take maybe a 1 or 2 weeks to be oriented on the system, to learn about our products, to learn about our culture, to sit down and be trained on it. Okay. So you're going to have time to sit down and learn a little bit about the company, learn about the values, learn about the procedures, learn about the orientation. Okay. After you're done, and a lot of times we may have batches that we bring people in, we train and develop them. And that's what HR does. We train and develop them. So we send them out. Okay. So, for example, I used to be an outside salesperson. And when I got hired, even though I have experience as a sales individual, they actually sent me on the job, and I was trained for about a good month. So they did a lot of cross training. They sent me to different locations. They send me to with other different salespeople. They even send me with to learn about distribution. Okay, so I learned about the ins and outs. How do I make an order, and then how does it process? Okay, so they did training and development. And a lot of times, they did develop, equity, inclusion, and diversity, making sure that, if I had, skills, I will be oriented with it, or if I need some, advice, they will help me as well. Okay. So on the orientation side, the way it introduces new employees to the company and their positions is, in reality, new employees must be trained. And furthermore, as they grow in the company and with their jobs and their job titles, they will change. So we want to make sure that they can adapt. We want to make sure that they can adapt really well. And with the change, they'll have additional training. But the problem is that training is costly and time consuming. I mentioned to you guys, it took me a month, okay? And the month included learning how to drive again. So they took me to it was called driving defense. They did a lot of regional developments. They did a lot of computer developments. They brought somebody in from the head office. They did a lot, okay? And when you look at it, it was time consuming, okay? People needed me on the job, and I was still being trained altogether. So fortunately, training is time consuming, and today's workforce, especially in the 21st century, reflects the broad change of differences in the population. There's a difference in people's gender, age, race, ethnicity, physical abilities, religion, education, lifestyle. And as HR professionals, we have to adapt. Okay. So, when you are a minority, for example, you need, time off for a religious holiday. If you're, practicing a certain religion, you need it, then of course HR will have to accommodate, okay? Not because, it's a charity thing, but because it's mandated. All right. So they have to come along with the times. Okay. If somebody has a physical disability, maybe they're legally blind or they're in a wheelchair, HR has to accommodate. Okay. You'll read it sometimes, especially when you do hire, that equity, inclusion, diversity is an important part. Okay. So if you are French speaking individual, if you are a, First Nations, indigenous, population, they also cater to you. Okay, they also want to make sure that you are looking at the company, and through diversity and change, they can grow with the company as well. Okay. But also, I know also mentioned that, I have ups and downs with HR, but the goal of HR is to make sure that once you go into a company, you stay there forever. Okay. And I'll use a model by a company called Deloitte, which is a consulting company. They say once you're in Deloitte, you're always in Deloitte, meaning that once you are a part of Deloitte, we want you to be there forever. Okay. So what is, the Deloitte's idea? Well, Deloitte, any company's idea is to make a place that you work with great. Why is making a place work great for you? Please remember that you're going to work in a company for 8 hours in a day. Okay. There's 24 hours in a day. One third of your day is committed to work. That's a bummer. All right. And it's the best time too, between 9 o'clock in the morning until 5. You're stuck at work. Okay. So what do you do between, I don't know, when you wake up at 6 in the morning until 3 o'clock, until 9 o'clock? Well, you prepare, you drive, you commute, eat breakfast, you be with your family and so forth, and then you go out there in the work. All right. So from 6 to 9, you adjust. And then when you're, going back from work, you leave work at 5 o'clock. And then of course you come home at like 5:30, 6 o'clock. Then, of course, from 6 until 9 a.m., it's your call, but there has to be a good chance that you're a human being. You have a heart, you have a brain, you need rest. So you're probably going to go to sleep in, I don't know, 10 o'clock. Is that okay for you guys? Can I give a nap time for 10 o'clock for all you guys? Sure. But, when you look at the numbers, okay, 4 hours extra at work, after work, 3 hours before work, that, and you don't really have much time. So that's like 7 hours of your day to be with yourself or your family, and then 8 hours to work. Okay. So you have 15 hours that you're awake. And then the next, 8 hours are going to be probably in your sleep. Okay. So you're going to be sleeping for, let's say 16 hours, 8 hours of sleep. That means 24 hours. Okay. So one third of your day is sleeping. One third of your day is to be God knows where with, your free time. And again, your free time is very squeezed. And then one third is to work to survive to make money. Okay. Welcome to the real world. Okay. And it's a problem. It's a problem for many people. So what HR needs to do is they have to make sure that you enjoy jobs. Okay, you enjoy work. And I think even at Centennial, HR, what they do is they actually celebrate, you know, being a great place to work. There's a ranking that is given to tell people that, you know what, if you work at Centennial, it's a great place to work. Okay. You like working here. Okay. You enjoy it. We're number one for inclusion. We're number one for diversity. We're number one for, minorities and women. Okay. That's a big thing for a company. Okay. So a lot of times HR has to sit down and say to themselves, what can we do to make this place a fun place to work? Okay. There's extremes. Okay. One extreme is, you're going to work like, Google, where Google is a very great place to work because you're always on innovation. But at the same time, they give you water slides, they give you 24-hour buffets, they give you games and toys and gummies and snacks, but they also don't want you to leave. All right. So, when I told you that there's 8 hours max of your day that you can actually do whatever you want, Google says, no, 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 you come back and you stay here. Okay. So, like, they want you to be, and I'm not joking, the head office for Google has everything you need. Okay. You want to sleep there? Go ahead, sleep there. Okay. You want to sleep near your desk? They actually have a pull-out couch where you can sleep in your desk. Okay. Whatever you want, but they want you to stay there. Okay, so sometimes people say, "Well, it's not a great place to work." Okay, it's not a place that I can have what we call work-life balance. All right. So people want to have a place where they can go in the middle of the day and go to a dental appointment, or possibly go to a doctor's appointment, or maybe if they have a kid who's sick, help the kid, go with the family, do something. Okay. So there's a lot of things we can do. And sometimes HR comes with ideas and says, you know what? Let's take Friday off. Okay. So we work 4 days, and there's been a talk for quite a while that says, you know what, technology is at a certain area in our lives where possibly we can work for 4 days a week. What a coincidence. Okay. What a good chance. Okay. People were talking about a shorter work week since the 1950s, yet we've been working more, ever more so since then. Okay. So our goal is to find solutions. Okay. Our goal is to make sure that we have a good, work-life balance. We have job redesigning. Maybe the job title is not there. There's too much administrative work, not a lot of sales work. Maybe you want to have job rotations. So a lot of times in the 1930s, when people went to work, what they did since day one, they do it since day 99, the last day of the work, because they always done the same thing. So when we had the line manufacturing, for example at Ford, when they had the manufacturing lines at many plants, the people, they did the exact same work every day, 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, 2,000 hours a year, in out for the whole time. But when you ask them, hey, what do you know about, metal of the car, the glass of the car, the engine of the car, they don't know much about it. Okay, and that becomes a problem. So a lot of times, please understand that there's job rotations being done. There's also job enlargements that they can enlarge the job, make sure that the job can get more titles and responsibilities. Beyond that, you can enrich the job. You can make sure that the job is fun. It's insightful. You can get a lot from it. You can take a lot of ownership on it. Sometimes there's alternative work arrangements, especially when people need to take what we call maternity leaves. But now a big push is for paternity leaves. Do you know, guys, what paternity leave is? Anyone heard of a paternity leave? There's maternity leave, and it's very similar to maternity leave. It's called paternity. And we got one person saying it is for the new dads, exactly, for new dads. So a lot of times people thought, well, you know what? Women, and of course, biologically, women, they have the kids, let them stay at, get time off. And even at some places, taking time off is very, very hard. Okay. So it is required in many places that they would get minimal 3 months of paternity leave. Okay. And HR works on it. Some companies, they will even offer you 12 months, even 18 months. Okay. And also, dads are allowed to take time off. Okay. So dads can take time off and, relax a little bit. Their new lives are going to be stressful. Maybe it's new dads. Maybe it's, dads who already have like, one or two kids. Now they have three kids. It's going to be stressful. Okay. So they realized that in order to alleviate stress, they can allow people to take time off. Okay. Or possibly have dads go in and, work from home. Okay. Also, sometimes you can have alternative work arrangements. So, for example, you realize that you cannot work and be at work in early in the morning because you have to take care of your family, you have to take care of your kids, and they'll say, "Fine, sure." What about having to work possibly from 11 o'clock until 7 o'clock at night? Would that work for you? So you're going to take 2 hours before. You're going to help your kids, prepare them. And again, the reason is that some places, what happens is that the mother um, is going to work, but they only can put the kid in the afternoon daycare. So the afternoon daycare starts at 11 o'clock. It goes until like 4 or 5 o'clock. The problem is that the dad can pick the kid up, but you need some alternative work arrangements. So can I work later on? Can I come in, later and work a little bit longer? Okay. So again, if the job is what we call unpleasant, tedious, and unfulfilling, a lot of people will leave the company. The employee probably won't be motivated to perform at very high levels, and many companies practice a policy of job redesign to make jobs more interesting and challenging. Common strategies include job rotations, job enlargement, and job enrichment. And specialization promotes efficiency because workers get very good at doing particular jobs. And the drawback here is that there is a little bit of a change or a tweak of repeating the same task day in day out. So people are just tired. They're not fulfilled. At first, it was fun. Now it's like meh. I know what to do. Nothing's really exciting anymore at work. Okay, how can we make them work more exciting? So repeating the same task in the day in day out is a little bit of problem. The practice of rotation allows many employees to rotate from one job to another on a systemic basis. So you learn from other departments. And often at times, you cycle back to your original task and realize, hey, you know what? I learned something from other positions. Let's pursue those positions in my company. Okay. So again, instead of job in which you performed just one or two tasks, wouldn't you prefer a job that gave you many different tasks altogether? Okay. So you have some experience. So you met new people. So the theory here is that HR people, they'd be less bored and more highly motivated if they had a chance on job enlargement. Okay, the policy of enhancing a job by adding tasks at similar skills and levels to make sure that they enjoy it. Okay, so expanding a job by adding similar tasks doesn't enrich the job, but it makes it more challenging and rewarding. So enriching a job means that the practice of adding tasks that increases both the responsibility and the opportunity for growth and provide the kind of benefits that according to remember if you saw Maslow's hierarchy, contribute to job satisfaction, security, stimulating the work environment, sense of personal achievements that you actually get the job done, self-esteem, recognition, respect, rewards, and a chance to reach your potential. Okay. So a lot of times HR's role is to build your career. We're not telling you this is a job. This is your career. This is your future. You are the company. You are the title. You're not just a worker for us. So by building a career, it requires substantial commitment in time and energy. And most people find that they aren't left with much time for non-work activities. So unfortunately, many organizations recognize the need to help employees strike a balance between having a good life cycle and having a good period of home. So by helping employees combine satisfying careers and fulfilling personal lives, many companies tend to end up with a happier, less stretched, and more productive workforce at the end of the day. Okay. So beyond that, I mentioned that there is alternative work environments that you can do, and we didn't really mention what it is all about. So alternative work environments is when you have flexible time. So again, flex time means that possibly, and this is an option, you can take half days Friday. However, if you take half day Friday, you have to commit to working an extra hour in the week. Okay. So you get 4 hours off on Friday. You can do whatever you want. You're done work by, 12, 1 o'clock. And we only ask that you, okay, as a worker, commit, okay, to working instead of 5 o'clock until 6 with still 1 hour break. Okay. That's flex time. Okay. Sometimes you have what we call the compressed work weeks as well, where you can work 4 hours. Okay. Job sharing, where you share the job with somebody else so that you can alleviate some of the pressure. Telecommuting, or now we do conferences and virtual. So again, like you and I, sometimes you can look at me, and because we're not in class, okay, we have what we call, work arrangement, school arrangements. Okay. We are doing our class from afar. Okay. And we're using the power of Ethernet cable. We're using the power of the internet. We're using the power of so many different things to make this class much, much better. Okay. So that has to do a lot with telecommunication. Also have family-friendly programs, so allow people to have daycares on the spot, bring their kids to work, have a chance to help, you know, elderly parents, or even kids with growing needs as well, and support for leave parents. Okay, so when a person leaves, the last thing you want to do is lose their job. All right. So you are secured the position. And when you go on leave, you can leave, get paid. And again, HR works for you. Okay. They also have programs to take care of yourself. Okay. Myself, guys, I'll admit I'm not the best in taking care of my body. Okay. However, Centennial cares for me. Okay. Centennial cares for me and has options. Number one, they will give me a discount for going to the gym at school. All right. Number two, I can go to a gym at Good Life and they have discounts for workers. And number three, they have programs that I can use to better myself. Okay. So they have programs for, taking care of myself. They have programs for benefits, unmarried without children, even programs, and all of them all together. So again, what does it mean for flex time? Employers who provide flex time guidelines allow employees to designate starting and quitting times. So again, flex time means that you will not be bothered to work overtime. You work when it's needed, and you can take time off. Rather than work 8 hours a day for 5 days a week, you might elect to earn a 3-day weekend by working 10 hours a day and doing for 4 weeks, for 4 days a week. That's a good option. Also, I want to mention that there are some companies, some industries. For example, if you are working in medical, or you are working as an ambulance driver, paramedic, a lot of times what they do is they make you work for 12 hours and then you take a day off. Okay. So you work day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, day out. Okay. So that means you work Monday from, let's say, 6 in the morning until like 9 o'clock at night. However, on Tuesday you have off. You come back on Wednesday. You have Thursday off, and then you do Friday. You have Saturday off, and then maybe Sunday you have to work as well. Okay. So they may ask you to work like 4 days a week and then take 3 off, or 3 days a week and they take 4 off. And then they will do rotations. Do you like that? I'm not sure. Okay. But again, ambulances are needed and you have to have a mental focus when that will happen. I mentioned job sharing as well. Job sharing is that under job sharing, two people share a full-time position, splitting the salary and benefits of the position and handling half of the workload. So that can happen where, instead of having so much of a workload, you split apart. We mentioned about remote work of work from home or work in another location. So you're still connected to the office by internet, cell phone, and your laptop. And then, of course, alternative work arrangements is that people working for companies like BAS, KPMG, Deloitte offer programs and benefits designed to help employees meet family and home obligations while maintaining their busy careers. Okay. As a good example, they offer some benefits. Okay. So, for example, you care for your dependents, young children, elderly parents, they're the most important to some workers, but combining dependent care responsibility with busy jobs can be very, very difficult and daunting. So what they do is they allow for parents in Canada to be guaranteed a paid leave on most cases via what we call employment insurance, maternal and parental benefits. So they'll have benefits coming in from the government that the government of Canada will give you. But on top of that, they also have a pool that allows you that once you have a kid, you can access that pool and take advantage of it. Okay. This offers employees a comprehensive benefit. So things that are very important for workers that HR does. They give you dental benefits, health benefits, eye benefits, gym benefits, whatever you want, they'll give you. Okay. So even now, single people who married with people, companies can reap some substantial benefits from programs that help employees balance their work and life balance. Okay. So when you see a company and you say to themselves, you know what, I like working for the company, but it doesn't mean that the company controls me. The company is only there for, you know, benefits. That's a place people will like to work. Okay. And sometimes, guys, when it comes down to good HR management, some people are willing to take a pay cut if they get this benefit. So ask yourself the question, would you want to be paid $150,000 a year, no benefits, no security, no retirement, no dental, or would you prefer to be paid $72,000 a year and I'll give you health benefits, I'll give you dental benefits, I'll give you security, I'll give you retirement plans, I'll give you everything you need? Would that be something you're interested in? Anybody want to decide? I just threw a offer of a lifetime. Would you take 150,000 or 72,000 with benefits? I guess nobody wants a job. All right. Well, it's all down to you guys, and I'll leave that option for you guys. But many people have to realize that 150,000 with no benefits is quick money. 72,000 with benefits means that if I need glasses, which cost $700, they're free. If I need to fix my teeth, free. If I need to take time off work, free. Okay. So when you add the freeness, okay, it may be really $150,000, but you're adding the benefits here. So take that into consideration. Okay, folks. Okay. So what we'll do is think about my offer of the century. And with that being said, let's take a break. When we're back, the timer now is 1:20. Take a break for 10 minutes. Come back at 1:30. When we're back, we'll talk more about incentive programs, and then I'll talk to you guys about what to do on Wednesday, and we will regroup once again. Any questions? Place clear in here? All right. So what we'll do, guys, is we'll take a break. Please be back. Hold on, be back at 1:30. And don't leave Zoom class. I'm hearing people leaving. It goes into your attendance. I will see you guys soon. Okay. Take a break. Enjoy your break. And then we will regroup in a couple of minutes. Okay. All right. Take a break. Enjoy for yourself. And then when we're back, we'll talk more about HR and its goals. Thank you. All right. We get the commotion going on somewhere. But nonetheless, we are back. Saksham, you decide. Saksham, hello. You're on. No, I guess he still didn't decide if he wanted the $72,000 or 150,000. But we'll find out. But nonetheless, if 72,000 versus 150,000 doesn't get in your way, what if I give you 50,000? But there is something called incentive program. All right. So now we're lowering the rate of your job. We're not paying you $72,000. We're not paying 150. We're paying 50,000. But would you take a position that gives you something like a bonus plan? Okay. Bonus plans have become quite common and range from employees eligible for bonuses, meaning that the company makes, let's say, a certain amount of money, and they take some of the money, let's say $2 million. You have like I don't know, 200 workers. Okay, so if you take a lot of that money and you have a pool of workers, and I'm just using an example of you know putting that number together. Okay, so if you have $2 million, and at the end of the year 200 of your employees do really well, every employee with HR support will get $10,000 extra. Okay, still, listen, it's not the same as $72,000 with benefits. You're still getting $60,000, but the bonus plan may have something of a earning. Okay, sometimes you may get even more if you're working sales. You get commission. So based on that, you get commission. You get other departments, and when you pull all your bonuses together, bonuses might in some companies end up being more than $50,000. Okay, so it means that if you work hard and you get recognized, then there is a benefit out there. So bonuses are very, very important in recent years. In the past, bonuses were usually reserved only for managers above a certain pay period. And today, companies have realized the value of extension of the employees to include employees at virtually every level of magnitude of bonuses and favored those who are in the top. An employee profit share is paid annually. Also, there's profit sharing that can be done. Employee profit sharing is paid annually as a percentage point of the employee's earnings and is based on the company's net profit. So again, if the company makes a certain amount, there's a certain point that you will get from that. Okay, so you actually go into earning or owning some of the company. I give you an example. WestJet is an airline company. They have a compensation plan that also gives employees the right to participate in their employee share purchase plans that enables employees to purchase WestJet shares amounting to 20% off their gross salary, and the company will match the contribution. This is used as an incentive to attract and retain good people. So again, getting stock options. Okay, so a lot of times when companies are going public, they will give their employees stock options. Okay, so you can especially I'm going to give you an example of WestJet. You can tell them that I make $5,000 a month. I want to take 500 of that $5,000, and I want to get it in stocks at your discount rate. So they'll do it, and HR will accommodate that. However, with WestJet, they will match it, meaning that they will give you, okay, another 500,000 to match it. So it means that every single month you're getting paid, or you're getting about $1,000 worth of stocks in your pocket. Now, what does that mean? Okay, let's look at WestJet, for example. I'm just using my um, my cell phone to give you some information about it. So currently, WestJet, their stock value is worth $30 per share. Okay. So they will give you a discount. Let's say it's $25 a share. And if you give me, okay, and now I need to, if I'm only using $25, $25 will give you 20 shares. If you go into the share program, I will give you another 20 shares. So that's 40 shares. Okay. And the 40 shares will cost $25, but the value right now is $31 per share. Okay. And that means that in reality, that you profited at the start $1,240. And let's say the share went from $31 and you got it for a discount at $25. It went up to $50 because you do a good job. All right. Well, the company, not you personally. That means that your shares went to now $2,000. You actually made $8,000 just like that. Okay. And you do it every month. So a lot of times people like to have stock options as a benefit. And last but not least, as I mentioned, benefits. So we talk about benefits of, dental. Okay. Remember, guys, you guys have, especially in Canada, you guys have the universal health plan. That means that if you need medicine, it's for free. You want to go see a doctor at a hospital for free, a doctor anywhere else, it's free. But there are things that we have to pay for. Okay. For example, dental. Dental costs a lot of money. You need braces, you need cavities, you need to clean your teeth. They will cost you money. Okay. Then there is the other benefits like chiropractor, shoe support. Okay. Maybe your feet hurt. Then there are things, for example, like ear care, other different items. Those benefits are there for you. Mind you, okay, that you also get vacation. Okay. Now, if let's come back to that company that pays you $150,000, vacation is not paid. So relatively, even though they tell you $150,000, 2 weeks you'll get off, but it's not paid. So that means you're really getting paid like $145,000 because those 2 weeks are not being paid for you. Okay. So you have to realize that in many companies, they actually will fund your vacation. Okay. And some companies will start with you. Let's say that in the first year, after you pass the probation, after you pass your 6-month review, after you pass your 9-month celebration in a year, you will be rewarded after that 2 weeks of vacation. Okay. So if you start today, which is March the 27th, March the 27th, 2024, you are eligible for 2 weeks off. If you want to take 2 weeks in between now and the year, it will cost you, but those afterwards, it means it's for free. Okay. And here's a new benefit. All right. After 10 years of working for us, we'll give you an extra week. So in the year 2034, you'll get an extra week off. And then 10 years after, if you still stay with us, in 2044, you'll still get a new week off. Okay, so now you get 4 weeks off. And let's say in if you stay with the company for 3 years, a lot of people are with the company. They've been in the company since 1993, and they're still with the company. If you stick with the company, we'll give you 5 weeks off. All right. What is 5 weeks off, guys? 5 weeks off means that you can take, a full month off and then a week whenever you want. Or you can take, let's say, 3 weeks. If you have a cottage, you go up north for 3 weeks. You relax there. You do absolutely nothing. You think about yourself, your family. You're so relaxed. You get a tan. You come back happy. Go on a cruise, in December. Then go to March break. That's benefits, guys. Okay. So a lot of times, please remember that, yes, I'm not the biggest fan of HR. I think HR people are not the best in my books, but please remember that they have benefits programs. Okay. But there's a catch here. Okay. The catch is that they also, HR, they do something called performance appraisals. Okay. Performance appraisals, number one, they have to set goals and expectation for you. They can just hire you and say, do it and you're good to go. They want to make sure you're up to par. So every, sometimes it's 3 months, sometimes it's 6 months, sometimes it's a year. They are expected, and you have to expect it, that they have to give you a written evaluation. Okay. The written evaluation will discuss with the employee exactly what they're doing. If they're doing good, then they get good review. And the good review opens you up to a lot of options. Option number one, okay, they will make sure that they will be doing a good job on the employees. They will discuss the employees together. They will make sure that the employees know exactly what is to be done. They will make sure that the employees are going to be there all the time. Okay. And the idea here is that there is going to be a situation that when you have, employees doing really well, the expectation now says, listen, I make $72,000. Every so often you give me a raise. I think right now, after working with 5 years, I deserve $100,000. How can you prove it? You need appraisals. But please remember that appraisals can go against you, because sometimes appraisals can say, listen, you need to improve in this side and this side and this side. You had a goal to sell maybe 100,000 units a month. You're usually going below that. So the goal is that you have to create a strategy, either for training, for motivation, for something to reach your target. Okay. So please remember that performance appraisal can go both ways. Okay. And if you have constant performance reviews are negative, it can really affect you. Okay. So before managers can measure performance, they must set goals and performance expectations and specify the criteria, such as the quality of work, the quantity of work, dependability, the initiative, the outcome that they'll use to measure performance. And at the end of a specific time period, managers can complete and evaluate that rate of employee performance according to predetermined criteria. So managers that meet with each employee to discuss the evaluation, they can suggest ways in which the employees can improve performance, which might include more training, more development, and how to make you a better worker. Okay. So please remember that in performance appraisals, okay, it's what we call a 360-degree initiative. 360-degree initiative is a feedback, and it's called an upward feedback, and the purpose is to make sure that the employees, mostly managers in that point, get feedback from all directions, from supervisors, from your employees working with you, from coworkers, from customers. If it's conducted correctly, this technique furnishes managers with a range of insights into their performance in a number of roles. So the same thing at Centennial. Every so often, I will get a performance appraisal. Okay, if you guys love my class, I get good rating. If you guys don't like my class, bad rating. But also, you guys do ratings for other classes. You guys do ratings overall, and they figure out exactly where the line should be drawn. Other times, when you look at finding valuable workers by performance appraisals, when a valued employee quits the job, the loss to the employer can be very, very serious. Okay. It means that somebody who accumulates a lot of sales, a lot of growth leaves us. Okay. And we cannot just say, forget you. We can find more people. That doesn't work that way. Okay. You need specific people. Okay. So not only will the company incur a huge cost to recruit people, and we don't know if they're going to do good, but to train and replace them. Okay. And a lot of times it also may suffer temporary decline in productivity and lower morale amongst remaining employees who have to take a heavier workload as a result of somebody resigning. Okay. However, creating a positive work environment is very important, and we usually figure out by performance appraisals if the employees are happy at work and are more productive, they provide better customer service and are more likely to stay with the company. Okay, so we want to figure out what makes a person stay. There's people who work in companies since the early 90s. Okay, They've been with the company for 3 decades. What made them stay with the company? We want to figure that out. And we want to use that to do it again and again and again. Okay. And also thinking for work to be done. Also, when you work with people and you have a positive work environment, people like that. Okay. So please remember, I told you in the beginning of class, 1/3 of your day is sleeping, 1/3 is doing your private things, whatever you want on your own, and then 1/3 is working. You're working 40 hours a week. You're working, 2,000 hours a year, at least. These people, a lot of times, and I know some people do not want to call them that, they're family, okay? They know who you are, and they have to deal with you for most of the day. If you're coming in not being productive, not being motivated, not showing exactly the right criteria, this will hamper your operations. This will hamper what we think about you. Okay. So many companies have found that involving employees in decisions saves the company money and workers feel better about their jobs and reduce turnover. Okay. So recognizing employee contribution, rewarding them, even giving them a plaque. For example, guys, I'll show you a plaque that I got once. As you guys can see, this particular plaque I was rewarded by as an appreciation for my hard work and dedication to my students. Okay, so another school in the GTA offered me a thank you for the kind and hard work that I've done. Okay, and I've taken that very seriously. So every single time that people come to my office, they see it. Okay, and they see that I am a rewarding individual, and I value that. Okay, so it involves employees in making good decisions, making good returns, and making everybody happy. Okay, but HR could also look at the other side. When people leave, we have to figure out why they leave. Okay. People don't leave by themselves. Sometimes they leave because they're fired. Okay. And sometimes they leave because they're terminated. Okay. So they leave because, we have layoffs. Okay. We let, out of 200 people, we let 500 people, sorry, 50 people go. Okay. Sometimes you may be fired. Okay. You come late. You show disrespect. You're not motivated. We don't see any growth in you. We may let you go, but sometimes workers will leave as well. Okay, so what happens sometimes is that workers may tell you, "Listen, I'm going for an appointment," and then the week after they're going for another appointment, but in reality, they're actually going to a job interview. Okay, they want to leave your company. So a lot of times there's a huge turnover rate, and a lot of times we have voluntary separations, which create a problem for employers. They're not nearly as devastating as the effect of involuntary termination on the employees. So again, HR is okay with people who we want to let go. We want to let them go. But when we are surprised sometimes, a lot of people will leave a company, and what they'll do is they'll write up a letter of resignation, and then they will hand it in to HR. Okay. And then HR gets shocked. They're like, whoa, you've been working here for like 15 years. Why all of a sudden do you want to leave the company? We pay you money. We give you benefits. We give you stock options. We give you everything. Why do you leave? Okay. And a lot of times you have to figure out why they leave. Okay. Maybe it's bad management. Maybe it's being ignored all the time. Maybe it's, the idea that, you do not really care about us. The environment is very toxic, and there are a lot of problems altogether. Okay, so a lot of times without a formal contract, you're considering to be employed at will, which means that both you and your employer have the right to terminate the employment relationship at any time. You can quit whenever you want, but your employer can fire you whenever they want. So please remember, guys, that you're not stuck to a company forever, and it's a lot of times a problem because sometimes when you sign with a company, they will tell you you cannot leave the company, or you can leave the company anytime because it's a right. However, you cannot work with our competitors for at least a year. But now the question is, who follows that? Okay, it's a very gray area, and usually HR kind of dictates that. But when they find out that a worker works for competitor XYZ, they cannot say, "Oh, we're going to fire you from that company," because they cannot control it. Okay, they can sue you, yes, but then when we look at the legal side, um, which court will hear it? Because then the remedy is, well, the person went for a better job at a company that they know, and now you're telling them that they cannot work in that company, meaning that they're unemployed and they cannot pay their bills. And as a result, who's going to compensate them? So a lot of times when a company says you cannot work for a company for X amount of years, or the industry, it's really something that's disputed. And some places just say it as a way to warn others. Okay, that's what I found. But please remember, guys, that again, like I mentioned, you can leave the company anytime. But please remember that even in working full-time secure jobs, nothing in the world is secure. Okay, there is a situation where you might be asked to eventually be let go. Okay, so please remember, guys, we've seen it before. No job in the world is secured. Okay, even the most secure jobs, and we'll talk about it next class, union jobs, they're still not as secure as possible. Okay, so please take that into consideration. Please remember that you want a secure job, but at the same time, secure jobs might not always be the key. Okay. So again, some key takeaways, guys. HR, what is it for? HR is for more than just what we can bargain for. HR gives us an opportunity to evolve. HR gives us an opportunity to create something better, and HR allows us to know that we can be more motivated, more attached into it, and eventually more successful as we wish. Okay. All right. Any questions? Any takeaways here?
Excuse me, Professor.
Yeah.
I don't have question regarding the HR, but I have question regarding the group assignments.
So which question do you want to start first?
Pardon me?
Which question would you like to start first?
I said I don't have any question regarding HR.
Oh, okay, good.
I don't know whether I can ask a question regarding group assignment right now.
Okay,
Is it
go ahead.
possible to? Okay. I'm from section 018.
Yep.
As you've mentioned, you did create an Excel sheet. I just follow that and could contact with my group mates. And after that, I create a group in WhatsApp, but I don't know what to do for our group assignments.
So did you go over the video that I handed? Because Nassim, normally our class, even this one, is in 2 parts. So I usually see you in the Monday part, but then you don't show up on Wednesday.
Yeah, because
okay. So do you go back to part number 2?
Okay.
Oh, yeah, yes or no?
No.
There's 2 parts.
No.
There's 2 video. Okay, so you basically do half of the class. So in the next, if you go to week 11, okay, under week 11 in your section,
Yes.
there is a video called part number 2. Part number 2 showed you the whole example, what you need to do as an individual case study and also as the group work.
Okay, sure. So
if you go into it, I basically spent the whole class telling you guys what to do. So if you were here on Wednesday for our 10:30 class, normally you would understand and you had questions back and forth to ask if you needed some information regarding the case study, individual, or the group work. So I broke it apart into a couple of different stages, but the major stage is to create a business plan, any plan you want.
Okay. Okay, I'll
That's
just
the idea.
follow the week 11, as you said,
Yeah.
video number 2, in order to follow the instructions you've mentioned. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So basically, Nassim, part number 1 video was from the Monday class, and then part number 2 video was from the Wednesday class. Okay.
Okay.
So basically, what I showed on Wednesday, the whole class, I basically talked about what is being done. I broke it apart in pieces and gave it to you guys.
Okay, thank you, Professor.
You're welcome. Take a look at Nassim. If you have any questions, anything about it, anything that you need to clarify, let me know. I broke it apart in, I think, like 6 parts. And the parts are mainly about give me the idea, the marketing, how the company is going to be structured, and the idea. That's basically it.
Sure, Professor. Thank you for help and support in advance. Thank you.
You're welcome. Not a problem. Any other question, guys? Anything that I can assist you with? HR? So again, guys, as Nassim clarified, we have basically 2 major assignments coming up. One is 10%, one is 20%. One is the individual assignment, the case study. This is in 6 parts. You're going to be talking about COVID-19, the Tim Hortons and how they changed. Okay. It talks about employee motivation, which we talked about today, HR. And it talks a lot about operation management as well as change. Okay. How do companies deal with COVID-19? Why did I pick this particular individual assignment? Number one, because you guys all experience one way or another, and we still are experiencing it, adjustments. Okay. You guys, I'm not sure. I know some of you guys may have a class in the school. Some of you guys are all online, but because of COVID-19, we all went remote. Okay. And I had a conversation once where we talked about what happens if COVID-19 hit in like 2001 or 1995. We would not have this certain class. Okay. I wouldn't be able to go on my phone, have, a chat with like 50 people and do a class on it. Okay. Today, I have a video, I have PowerPoint, I have everything, and I use Zoom. Okay. So a lot of times when you look at adjustments, some people can adjust it. Okay. And I believe you guys saw it before that, in the height of COVID, they closed things like Tim Hortons, and then they stopped allowing people to go into Tim Hortons. Then they had curbside pickups. Then they had what do you call it? You can only have 5 people in, then 10, then 20. Then they separated the individuals, and now we're back to 2019. Okay, so I want to talk about it. Okay, I want you to answer the questions and then relate back to our class. On top of that, guys, there's also going to be the group work. So please, I put you guys in groups. If you're in 003, you're in a group. 018, you're in a group. Please remember to talk with your group members. Please remember to communicate. Please also remember that the ride is not free. You're hard workers. You deserve it. If students do not do the work, do not reward them. Okay, put in a name means that they're just sitting there relaxing while you do the work. If they don't do work, they don't get paid. It's like that in work, and it will be like that in my class. Okay, so let me know who's not putting up their sleeves. I will deal with them on a one-on-one basis. Okay. Oh, some fan play. Hi, sir. Where can I find the discussion board for the group assignment, please? There is no discussion board for the group assignment per se, but you need to communicate with them, okay? The only problem is the group assignment on the group board is available for the students that are in the class, like not asynchronous or synchronous class. But I have given you guys the quote unquote board on it on your email. So if you want to start quote unquote a Fred Egbert, what you need to do is you need to chat with them and get the conversation started on your own. Okay. But there's no group assignment board. I cannot mark it, of course, but it is required for any other platform. Okay. Any platform will do. You want WhatsApp? Go ahead. You want Viber? Awesome. You want Teams? Sure. Emails? You want to yell at each other? Don't do it violently, but you can do that as well. Okay. Or whatever, brain to brain, teleport cognitive assessment. You can do that as well. I'm just going too much science here. But any platform you want to talk about, go ahead. Sure, yeah. Let me know. And definitely pick a leader and make sure that they can submit at the end. Only have one person submitted. Okay. All righty. Any further questions?
Hello, sir.
Hello, Raquel.
So no need for me to follow the step one and the instruction, right?
What instructions? Where?
It is in the instruction of business venture. There's a step one
Yeah,
regarding discussion
but
boards.
you leave the discussion board aside. The discussion board, I gave you like a kind of forward to do because it gave you guys your contacts. So you discuss everything within your group, okay? And your goal is that you will formulate a group together. Okay. And again, like Egbert mentioned, maybe he didn't mention it directly in the chat, but you can use WhatsApp to contact individuals and communicate. You can use email. You can use Viber, Teams, whatever you like. It is open for you. Okay. The goal here is that there's communication, and the takeaway here is that instead of marking you on discussion board, which doesn't have much say here, if I see that students are at the end have worked together, meaning that I put 6 students in a group, all 6 students are doing the job, then they'll get marked. Okay, for the side of communication. If there's no communication, I can chop some marks from individual team members. Okay, but at the end, that's when you get the marks for the teamwork side. That you work together, you work in harmony, you like each other, you didn't kill one another, and you're good to go. Okay. Did that answer your question, Raquel?
Yes, thank you. I just wanna ask something regarding financial what you call that the financial statement.
Okay.
What about that?
What about that?
Uh,
Do you know how to do a
some
budget?
of some of us didn't get the accounting one subject, so how can we do that?
All right. Do you know how to do budget? Hello, Raquel. Do you know how to do budget? Does anyone know how to do budget? I know some of you guys are living on campus. Do you know how to say, well, I make $5,000 a month and the budget will be 3,600? You take minus that and then you get a budget. That's what I'm looking for. So again, I'm not looking for specific numbers. I'm looking for a budget, okay, that you can give me a reality for at least 3 months. Okay. So I'm assuming that if you know budget well, the first month is going to be a loss. And then your goal is in 3 months, how can you prove that you're going to have a profit? And again, all these numbers are made up. So I'm not expecting the numbers to be real unless it's a real company. But other than that, you're going to tell me that you need, let's say, $500,000 to start the business. And then the first month, you're going to make maybe $300,000. And then later on, you reduce your budget. You reduce your debt. Okay. So it's not per se, accounting, but it's more budgeting, personal budgeting even. Okay. Did that answer your financial assumption? Anybody? No? All right. Other than that,
Yeah, thank you, sir.
you're very welcome. Any other questions? Anything else I can talk to you guys about? And yes, guys, there will be a class on finance very, very soon. So it will help you out. So that's definitely an important part for you to attend. But any further question, guys? The time right now is 2:05. Definitely some time right now for you guys to work in the group. But do you guys have any other questions for me that I can answer? Help you guys out? Going once? Takers. Going twice? Any takers? Any leavers? Going 3 times? No? Sold to who? Guess who? The week. All right, the week. We just started the week. We'll sell it to the week of the March 27th. Guys, it's beautiful outside. Take advantage of the wonderful springtime fever that we have. and I will see you guys here next week. Okay. Have a good one. Stay in, stay safe, stay warm, and I shall see you guys here next week. Okay. Bye for now. Have a good one, and I'll see you guys here on Wednesday. We'll talk about unions, HR, and I'll give you a micro discussion assignment to complete. Okay. Take care and speak to you soon.